Get 700 religious leaders under one roof, and you might expect some head clashing. After all, the subject of religion has been known to kindle some controversy. But unlike past Methodist conferences, this one is not expected to produce any waves. The three-day North Texas Conference will not take any stand on controversial social or political issues. Instead, it will adopt long-range goals and finalize plans to participate in a non-denominational evangelism program. I asked Dr. James C. Hares why this year's conference is so placid.
I doubt that there will be, as in previous annual conferences, a great deal of controversy on social questions, such as the question of abortion or the homosexual or such as these, primarily because the General Conference, which has just met in Atlanta, had occasion to deal with many of these questions, but we've not had time to study them in detail in the annual conference. Perhaps at another session there may be, but probably not at this.
Non-controversy has certainly not been an earmark of Methodist conferences in the past. But as Dr. Hares said, North Texas delegates just haven't had enough time in 1 month to take any issue with the General Conference in Atlanta. Next year might be a different story. Martha McIntire, Channel 8 News on the Move at the Methodist North Texas Annual Conference.
They call this the Mardi Gras of the Midwest, the Indy 500. On this Saturday, as on all race days, the gates were opened at 4 o'clock this morning, and the fans began to stream in to watch their favorite racers run and to have fun. You know, this infield, inside the 2.5-mile oval here at the Indianapolis 500 Motor Speedway, reminds a Dallasite and a Texan of the State Fair Midway, perhaps on the afternoon of the Texas-Oklahoma game. Only you would have to rate the Midway at Dallas a G for general audience. After a once-over here at Indianapolis, I would have to say that the infield might be classified as PG, parental guidance suggested. And the Indy 500 Motor Speedway, possibly like the Statue of Liberty, beckons to racing fans everywhere. Send me. You're thirsty. You're sleepy. You're racing fans yearning to breathe free. Send me the tousle-headed, sleepy-eyed to me.
No, I like to see them race. I'm an automobile mechanic from many years back, so it's always quite a thrill to see them.
Of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway now, the pace car pulls off, but it'll be one more time around.
You brought your lunch. What are you going to eat during the afternoon?
Oh, we bought a box lunch. This is just the accessories. Something to keep our whistle wet.
I just love a good time. A real good time. And enjoying myself.
You were the one who wanted to come.
Yes, I'm the fan.
How long have you four known each other?
About 10 minutes. I'm from Indianapolis, and this is the first time I've ever been here, too. It's nice.
Mustard Miss? Are you married?
No.
Are you married?
No.
Are you friends?
We're husband and wife.
That's our first one I've seen. What is your son's name?
Eric.
Where are you from?
Across the street.
You're old-timers then, huh?
We live right across the street.
That would be more exciting to come out here and spend the night.
What time did you come out last night?
Around 9.
What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
And would you believe fried eggs and bacon?
Where did you fry them?
That skillet on that thing. Right here.
And after a look at the infield, you might think that perhaps the race is just incidental. But they do have fun when they come to Indianapolis. We hope you've enjoyed a look at Inside Indy. For Channel 8 Sports, this is Jerry Haynes with Tom DeMiter from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
We Americans are a strange group. We gather every Memorial Day to honor our war dead and hear talks of their not having died in vain, of freedom and patriotism, of dedication to our nation. Then throughout the year, we're quick to criticize any wrong or foolish thing our country does. Yet we are hesitant, almost to the point of bashfulness, to take a bow for the millions of good things we've done and continue to do. We're reticent at expressing outwardly our deep and abiding love for our country and our love of freedom, which is a precious thing. I don't believe there's a person here who has to be reminded of the sacrifices made by our war heroes.
The U.S. government gave a $400,000 contract to build 384 new tiger cages, or isolation cells as they're called in the contract, which are 2 square feet smaller than the former ones. Well, after I found out about this, then the Saigon government kicked me out.
How recent was this new contract?
It was dated January 7th, 1971, and I've found out since that the new ones have all been finished.
Do you feel like there will be any lasting good effects of American involvement?
Well, if I go back, say, to 1958, when I first arrived in Vietnam, it's true that we found some better varieties of sweet potatoes. It's also true that we've, brought some improved health methods and this sort of thing. But at the same time, we have defoliated much of Vietnam so that Vietnam has changed from a major exporter of rice to one of the world's largest importers of rice.
I have a strong sense of outrage. I believe that public office is a public trust. I believe those who abuse a public trust ought to be exposed. I believe that the press should be a watchdog on government. I don't trust government. I have found that people in government will lie and cheat sometimes in order to stay in power. I wouldn't even indict all of them. I wouldn't even indict the majority of them, but I've caught so many of them at it that I believe our constitutional forefathers were quite wise when they decided to grant the press freedom and to give it the injunction to be a watchdog. Because if you read the statements of Thomas Jefferson and James Madison and the Constitution, you'll see that they intended for us to perform that function.
By what right is Jack Anderson the anointed one, the one to do all this digging and investigating?
I think that I have no more right than you do. I think that you and all of us who go into the journalism profession, I think that all of us who try to serve the public in the newspaper and radio TV business should perform the same function.
Does it worry you when you start into a story that you're going to make a serious mistake?
Well, I don't go into a story with the intention of making any mistakes. I think that we have a tremendous obligation to be careful, to be accurate. I don't believe that any cause that we may believe in can be helped by misrepresenting the facts. And I think we have to be very careful not to misrepresent the facts.
Of course, we here in Texas are probably most familiar with Jack Anderson these days because of your recent expose on the Texas National Guard Adjutant General and his supposed stateroom aboard that airplane and his trip when he took his wife to Europe and that sort of thing. Do you ever worry that perhaps the information you've been given has not been checked out thoroughly enough, that you don't have all the information you need before you print a story like that?
They're never right about that. I would never run a story without talking, in this case, to the Adjutant General of Texas. I would never print a story without giving the subject of that story an opportunity to respond. To the best of my recollection, the Adjutant General chose not to respond until after the story appeared. To the best of my recollection, he refused any comment when he talked to us. He can't complain, therefore, about what we wrote. What we wrote was accurate. What we said was true. The use of words may have been strong. What we described as the stateroom was not really terribly elaborate, but it was a special room that was refurbished on the plane for the use of the Adjutant General and his wife. They flew over there at the taxpayer's expense. I understand that he did pay his wife's hotel bills, and we reported this.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, we gave him full opportunity to comment. And we do that to everybody, and we wouldn't write a story without giving him comment. So, no, we don't go off half-cocked, or at least we don't if we can help it. It's the nature of our journalism, of course, to break ice. We're exploring stories that no one else has touched. We're going into areas that people don't want to talk about. And you sometimes find that they won't discuss these things. And when we break the ice, when they see the story then in cold print, people who refuse to talk to us will sometimes begin to talk. Now, obviously, nobody, and that includes us, can print information they don't have. And when people won't give us the information, and we have to go with just what we can get, then we are necessarily limited in what we can say.
Who's your next mark? Who are you going after now?
Well, we try to keep an eternal watch, and there are others who do it. We're not alone. We try to keep in trouble, and we may be more successful than some of the others.
I don't know how you feel about it, but as far as I'm concerned, I see only one other alternative left for us to reclaim our organization, and that is to take legal action. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm ready to go.
This is caviar from Russia. Eat it.
What does it taste like?
This is octopus. Tastes like some kind of fish.
You want some more?
My name is Frank Fagan, and I'm going to be tasting herring from Israel. Uh-oh. I don't know.
It's crazy. Oh my God. Swallow it.
Of tradition in this Western service band.
More than 3,000 members of the Fort Worth Classroom Teachers Association will meet here at Will Rogers Auditorium this evening. Each member will cast a vote on whether or not to accept the school administration's offer of an across-the-board pay raise. President of the CTA, Morris Haynes, says the administration's offer and the teachers' requested raise is several $100s apart. Haynes, as a bargaining agent for the teachers, said he and school officials reached an impasse in negotiations Saturday. Although no dollar figures have been released, several months ago, Superintendent Julius Trulson said he hoped for a $500 raise added to $300 in state funds for a total of $800. Apparently, the administration's offer is less than Trulson had anticipated. If the teachers vote tonight not to accept the offer, then Haynes and CTA members will go before the school board meeting June 21st for more bargaining. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move in Fort Worth.
Ready, aim, fire! Ready, aim, fire! Ready, aim, fire!